Yeah.
We're back again.
Oh,
Even though
yeah.
you can't see me.
Kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, roosters and hens and everything else in between, Cock Talk is kind of back after a 1 week layoff. I am Tyler at MBF Express. We have Josh at Grateful Coops, Dave at Pecking Order Racing, and Blake on a mobile.
Yes.
On his flip phone.
Blake's on a flip phone.
Yes, it is true.
Blake bought himself a new flip phone and says it's the way of the future. But no, Blake's got some storms in the area right now, so his internet's all over the place. So
Yeah.
he has one of those fancy new flip phones that he's attempting to come into the show with. So you won't see his pretty face. You'll see that he is stuck in the void. If you go into the Coop Collective chat, you'll see him just hanging out there. We tried to get his face on here, didn't work great. Kind of looked terrifying, but he's there. Say hi, Blake.
Hi. Hey, guys. How's it going? We're doing good.
There we go.
It's all good.
Sambo says, "Where's Wham?" Yeah, Wham is. We're not doing racing tonight, so he's not here. Is that what it is?
I
Wham
thought he
has
just hated
abandoned us?
Mondays.
He might.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is he Garfield?
We'll see.
I don't know. How does he feel about lasagna?
All right, so we've got a pretty eventful couple. Actually, just last week for the most part, we chose a pretty good week to have my house have carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's why we were not here last week. But we shortly thereafter found out quite a bit of new information and some exciting news about what we have coming up and what is now who is now part of the community. So do we want to just dive right into the dev blog right away, or do we want to talk a little bit about the new community manager first?
Well, I guess we could get that.
So we got two dev blogs.
So we got a dev blog, and then she gets introduced, and then another dev blog. So we might as well go from in order there with the announcements.
Let's do it.
And
There's some nice segues.
Yeah, we got a fair amount to get to tonight, so let's just get right into it.
We'll condense it a little bit from the previous dev blogs, since it's it's talking about the Oktoberfest tournament that went down and finished up on Friday, I believe, last Friday. The ARG, they've made some updates to that. I know that they had some updates made on this previous dev blog, and I believe that they did make another update in the next dev blog. I'm not sure. I'll have to recheck that, but I thought I saw someone point out that the ARG is looking really good. Yeah, Sydney Cole, I saw you say that, or it was either you or Raw Dog and saying it in the.
They've definitely been listening to us on that, and how could they not? It's been pretty obvious.
So mostly, the marketplace development, they wanted, there was a function that they wanted to add, and which was an option to trade chickens, and also the making an offer of just wheat for someone's chicken. You could offer a chicken in trade instead. So I know the question was out there of will offers be on the table with the new marketplace, and I believe the answer was only on chickens that are listed.
Yeah, and I believe in the next dev blog, it actually shows us that they will have the option to place your chicken up with I don't want offers or I do want offers. So there will be a little bit of that as well. A little bit of a bummer that you won't be able to offer on chickens that are just sitting there stagnant. But, the end game here is not to have too many stagnant chickens. So I think a lot of these steps they're taking are to be looked at as once this game is really pumping and moving forward.
So the big thing that they want to get going is get the marketplace out as soon as possible. And that is, again, this is from the previous week before update. Mostly wanted to hit the update for these little tidbits here. When will cosmetics? This was a question from Coop Collective. And so this was awesome. The devs are starting to take questions from a questionnaire. There's a link in the Chicken Coop or in the Chicken Derby chat where you can submit a question, and if the devs like your question, they will answer it in the dev blog. So this question was, when will cosmetic bonuses be revealed, such as if white beaks have a perk, vamp fangs, stripes, etc.? As users discover secrets and hidden mechanics, if they provide evidence for them, we will add them to our tutorial. For example, when the community discovered birds with an eye patch fired 3 rockets when using helicopter instead of 2, this was added to the tutorial. So if you suspect something of a trait, let us know, provide some evidence, and then when true, we'll add them to the tutorial. And then they did show that, it is added there with the helicopter. I do kind of think it's, I don't know. I have my thoughts on that and how this discovery is like, it's really hard.
Well, is it
I feel like we're grinding, and then new people are going to be like, "Oh, it's in the tutorial already." Thanks, guys.
No, how didn't you know that? Go, Blake.
Thanks for grinding for 2 years and figuring all this shit out.
Are these one of ones, meaning one talent matches up with one boost, or is it like?
Yeah.
So
didn't someone say the eyes? Something about eyes having,
well, here we don't know yet, but I did have originally in Coop Collective chat, Ben F, as always, was looking for anything within the data that they could find to try to ascertain anything on this, and things we were coming up with were.
So,
I thought I saw a nugget though.
I guess
that said, like Ross says in the chat, eyes are tied to 6 talents.
Yeah,
they
so
are.
6 talents are boosted by eyes. So we have
correct
eye patch and helicopter. We have lizard and growth.
Right, and we don't know if
4
there's
still sitting out there for other eyes.
I would imagine they don't double up, so it's 1 per. At least that's the idea that we're going with right now. But we're still to be determined.
But think about it. So if your eye patch doesn't have a helicopter, your eye patch is pretty much worthless until it comes to breeding and trying to breed with a helicopter, right?
Yeah. See, that just makes me wonder. There's got to be more than that. There's only, I believe, 11 of them.
Yeah, there are. So, or 11 or 13 or something like that.
Take stripes, for example, and we don't know what that is. But if that stripe happens to be only work with 1 talent, I don't know how valuable those cosmetics are now. Unless you've got that specific double match.
Well, that's a very fair point, because since it is such a small amount there, and there are quite a bit of each of the eyes, 300 each. So you'd imagine there'd be something more there that we could find. But maybe there is. I mean, of course we have the farming, we have breeding. There's a lot more to be discovered so far, but at least this is just based on talents. This is just for talents. So there's got to be more in there.
In discovery, because there's so few of them, it's gonna be hard to find out. Like if alien eyes is linked to black hole, is there even an alien eyes black hole?
I think
there's one.
Is it running?
That's
probably not.
Right. So like if that's the link, I mean, we can kind of forget about discovering it anytime soon.
Well, that's just it. It's hard to discover this unless all 33,000 chickens are running. Because like I said, there are only like Jackie Daytona. There's only 4 vampire classics. Like, what combo does that do, or what does a vampire do, or along with the same things of the eyes matching with the talent. Like if the talent matches with the eyes, there's only a couple of each.
There are 2 alien eye black holes.
Oh, I'm sure Poseidon owns one of them.
But no, neither. Both Lakenvelders. One's a 96. The other one is George Keller. That's that one that had issues being stolen and then brought back. Shout out to Snorlax for helping out with that one.
Yeah,
that's a 90. So there's a 90 and a 96. They're both. Interestingly enough, they're both screaming green and red. So they're actually carbon copies.
Are they breedable?
We're saying
one of each. Yep.
One of each. Looky there.
Yeah. We're saying that these are tied to talents, but does that also insinuate that certain cosmetics may have a booster benefit on a certain distance or terrain or something else?
Well, we did see that there are some talents that are hyped by terrain, I believe. I think that's what they said. Deli said that. We're jumping all over the place now. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen with the amount of info we've been dropped on us.
Have you guys?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if we've been putting them in our little nuggets chat, we could jump over there if they're in there.
But. Yeah, but also for what it's worth, they have updated the Discord a little bit in the main chicken coop. So there's a few more things there. There's actually a community engagement spot that we could have posted in. Well, I'm sure we'll use that soon. I know the guys at Foul Language use that up a little bit. Game Insights, there's actually a little spot there where he put Deli's
that's where
nuggets.
Deli dropped stuff today.
basically it's basically everything we've gone
Community
over.
engagement channel for the old foul language Twitch.
Yes.
You can
Steve
go in there
Martin,
and live
also
chat.
prop comic.
Yeah, I know.
6 talents are boosted by the chicken's eyes, discovered already as we've gone through. The
Just
lizard
laying it
growth
up for
eye
you.
patch. Some talents are boosted by terrain. Some talents are boosted by terrain. So that is completely different than
Yeah.
the 6 chickens in the eyes. So,
But that's something we've kind of, tinfoiled back from like the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Something like dig should be more effective on dirt than it is on a road.
well,
Can we assume that if it's not tied, so can we assume that helicopter is not tied to any terrain, since we already know that it's tied to
I think it's
iPad?
fair. I think it's fair to at least assume that, until we see something obvious, because now you're kind of messing with things a little bit too much if they double up like that.
And because
But, yeah.
helicopters in the air, so
Right. So
I
in
think terrain's
theory-
less of a factor, would make sense.
Yeah.
On the good tinfoil.
Someone actually came into the main chat. Zefster said, guys, has anyone checked if cold snap and snow terrain are related? He's like, just a thought, don't mind me. It's
or
like,
dig
you know
and
what?
dirt, or
Maybe,
Cougar
like,
and road.
100%, maybe.
The
Yeah.
obvious things.
But
Yeah.
still difficult to figure out. Like Bachfather and I are looking, Ben F and I were looking at the APIs and just trying to see what the segment sizes looked like and if there's any changes. Obviously, Alien Eyes and Jetpack was brought up as a possibility. That's an obvious correlation. I kind of think that each of the talent types are probably have one that's attached to whatnot. As right now we have the magic has been that's growth has been attributed to the growth talent, then the lizard eye, excuse me, and then the weapon has been attributed to eye patch. I'm guessing now we also need one for technology, and for spirit is the other one. So
That's
technology kind of looks like, it would coincide pretty well with Alien Eyes, but still we're just reaching at this point, and we didn't see anything obvious yet that steps out. And until we have a ton of birds racing, it is kind of hard to figure out.
And if there's no glaring visual cue, so like if my talent performs a little bit better on a certain terrain, am I really going to be able to visually quantify that I went 6 meters instead of 5 meters on my teleport? Like, right, that's going to be so hard to nail that down unless you're looking at API data and like, is there something in the splits there that real deep dive?
Not the call.
What percentage of wins does it increase you at? Right. Not only can we not tell visually in a lot of cases, but even though these are hitting on their preferred terrain or whatever, are these winning more often there?
Now,
so you would think that we would be able to look at certain talents and say, okay, this talent's winning X amount of percent more than all these other talents at this terrain.
Now, on that note, I think this is kind of where all of these things coming together are. I see some people. I know Redhead is one of the biggest proponents of making this pay to win and having the boosts and how tricky that can make games. But I really do believe that all of these things they're putting in are incremental, very incremental. They're little boosts here and there. Like I think the growth and lizard eye combo just makes it engage for a little bit longer. So if you're still not running
only 11
properly, right? But if you're still not running that properly, then that little bit of boost isn't going to translate to win percentage yet. So it's and even when we have the food boost, I think there's still going to be incremental boosts.
Yeah. And I think mainly these little incremental boosts to tie it up for breeding. Maybe as you breed down the line, you've got these little incremental boosts built up in a 3rd or 4th generation bird, and it's good at a few different things.
Right, smart breeding. You could in fact put together a pretty badass bird by just fusing a couple and then breeding it properly and getting lucky with the dice roll. Yeah,
it's going to take us knowing the majority of how these things work before breeding starts. Otherwise, if breeding starts and we still don't even know a lot of these, to me, it's just going to muddy the waters even more.
Well, tapping into the pulse.
What?
of the go Josh.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's only 11 eye patch helicopters. I'm pretty sure that they 11 lizard growths. So possibly if
Seems
Alien
like
Eyes has 11 of something, I don't know. I think they would probably keep that consistent, but you never know.
And maybe that's worth checking out. Maybe that's the way we sleuth it, is look through the
I think the better way to look at it too is what total number of eye patches and what total number of helicopters, because there's their breeding partner. Not necessarily the ones that are already matched, but what ones can you match in the future?
Yeah, 11 is already off on the breeding, which is interesting. They've made that an uneven number for that kind of setup. I don't think there's any
but now if you
triple
get,
breeding
like
going on
just to
yet.
Blake's point, you get a helicopter and an eye patch and you breed them and make it work.
I hope you get a helicopter eye patch.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is why I do think this is, the pay to win concept here. I don't think you're just going to be able to pay to win. I do think that you will have the option to pay and get some different birds. And it's a gambling game, and you are buying birds that have different kind of aspects to them. But I don't think there's just a way that they're setting this up, at least, where you're just going to be able to pay and you will have a bird that's unstoppable.
And let's remember, if we're all 12 paying to win, somebody's got to lose and somebody's going to win. So
it's still just
it's
relative
only
at some
to
point.
win to a certain extent. Of if there's a big influx of new users coming in and they're turning that pot and keeping the races turning, but we're all gaining advantage because we know the ins and the outs of it. Okay, now it can be pay to win. But when it's all of us that are sitting around that know the ins and outs and we're all buying the same stuff, to me, we're going to end up with maybe some birds that you didn't think were good runners that are now good runners, and vice versa. But ultimately, we're going to end up really in the same boat that we are today.
I think that's fair. But there's also just tapping into the pulse of the community and what people have kind of been saying. And it's not just a couple people. Just the fact that, like, knowing that these birds have value. And then once we know what these birds can do, we will then have a better idea how much it's actually impacting, what kind of actual advantage we have by owning them. Because at the moment, my eye patch helicopter is pretty mediocre bird. I think it's like 6, 8, and 9 in 110 races. Like, it's nothing special. It's a D bird. So like at the moment, I don't see anything too advantageous from having that bird. But still, the pulse of the community is very much, why are we still doing this? Why are we still essentially paying to figure out what all these things mean? And we've raced, we've tried to discover. Very clearly, they've made something very difficult to discover, and that's good. I'm happy about that. I think most people are happy that it's very difficult to discover. But when will we eventually get to the point where we know all these things? Do we have to find them all ourselves?
Well, like I said, you think you need all 33,000 chickens running to figure it out.
Yeah,
fully.
That's another.
I think they could go a long way too by making the visual clues stand out a little bit better.
Yeah.
If they did an update to some of these talents that when they're going off, like the rollerblades is obvious, right? I think that's one of the most obvious ones besides the eye patch is that little.
And they said that most of the other ones are not nearly that obvious.
Right.
So they've said that. I think Delia said that outright. So yeah, we're really nitpicking.
But like, think about like talents like Royal Procession and Black Hole. How are you gonna know those go off so very not?
Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
Mine never go off, so it's very rare when mine go off. So how do you figure that out? Like,
how would you tell with Black Hole anyways? I mean, is it going to suck the birds in differently and throw them back further? I mean, it would be hard to gauge, but that's why it almost needs to be like maybe even a different type of visual of the black hole that it stands out differently.
Maybe
that
UFO
we know
comes in too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well,
just something.
I mentioned, and maybe I need to formally ask it, but I had the thought that when the top end moving walkway hits, the bird sprints onto the walkway. I don't know if that's actually just something they're sprinting and they jump on, but it does seem like when they do a quick sprint, which seems like it's part of the actual opening sequence of the talent animation, they tend to fly down a little bit faster. So maybe that's one of them. It's pretty subtle if that's the case.
Well,
And so I'll ask it again and see if that's the case. But I kind of doubt it.
With Kuber similar to that, where some seem to go way further back once they hit the thing than others. Some have a little. It seems
I've
like
seen some good Coopers. I've seen some
well,
really
but
bad.
you know, like when they hit the roadblock and they, for whatever reason, they just hang in the air and they just fall way back. Some seem to.
While we're at it, we might as well keep rolling here so we can get.
I was just going to say, let's wrap this up a little bit because this next one is. We talked about it at length a few episodes back. CJ Butterman had a question. Can you publish a list of all tracks, including the event name, location, distance, and terrain, and entry price shown in ETH and USD? Please highlight tracks that have a cheaper spinoff, like fried chicken and tender chicken tracks. Sure. So they've added this to the tutorial. We haven't added the USD values since they fluctuate, but ETH is there. As for cheaper versions, most of the open free entry races and juvenile chick races share a location with a paid race, but the location of the race doesn't matter in the race logic. Be it
louder for the kids in the back.
And that's a big one.
The race doesn't matter in the race logic. Location, be it the 140 snow in Estonia or 140 snow in Finland, it's all the same to your chicken.
For good measure, just because, and I appreciate those that believed in it, that are still thorough in asking. I think Bachfather followed up and was just like, hey,
I did see that.
If there any, I'm trying to find exactly how he put it, but yeah, he said, so Bach said, when I said location was a factor, I wasn't referring geographically. Rather, the races are coded differently. What do you say on that? Are races set with attributes that would make them unique in any way? That last sentence was well placed as far as getting a straight answer. And Deli responded, no. So, but still very straightforward. Are races said with attributes that would make them unique in any way? No.
What's up, Blake?
So, can we pretty much then say it's only strictly distance and terrain?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
The 200 sands
so
your jam.
There's no other third variable. It's only distance and terrain.
Yep, the other variables are all the other variables, like
that's just
the chickens and everything. Yeah,
variance
is part of the visual package.
Right. Variance.
Estonia,
right.
Finland,
variance
same
is
thing.
a bitch.
Damn right.
Because I know there were some that were like, okay, is the continent matter, and the specific location, and when you look at the individual data, there are some things that kind of stand out that make you think that. But if they're saying no,
to quote Deli, no.
Hard no.
Yeah.
Yep.
At
Hard
least
no.
it gives us I completely the minute I saw that, I completely stopped tracking.
Yeah.
So
like that.
After that question, they had an AMA on the 4th of October. That went well.
It did.
During that AMA, we were introduced to our new community manager, Iriel.
There you go. You nailed it.
Yeah,
good job.
Nailed it.
Boom, first try.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Iriel, it's been awesome. Honestly, I've really enjoyed just the juice that I kind of feel the main chat has. She is in there quite often. Just always answering questions. Even like this was huge. This is such a huge thing. And I know I alluded to this before. Just giving an answer that's even, hey, I don't know yet. I'm writing it down. I'm making sure it gets to them. It's just so when someone says something, it doesn't just fall on deaf ears.
Yep. That's the engaged part that people were saying felt like it was missing, and it's just, all we've been asking for is just, more transparency. And when, at the beginning they were super transparent and it was, that's all we could gush about. And then it just kind of got a little more tight to the vest with the game getting to at the point to where it was at. And now there's more discovery, and now we're asking more about the discovery, and they're just like, no. And we just want to know, at least just give us an answer, or, hey, we're looking into this. This is, we never thought of that, or that's not on the table. Just at least something. And she's just been nailing it so far in the chat. And
not to mention, if you pop around in the chat a little bit, you'll see some things like at the very top, events. And there's an AMA and game night with Uriel that is going to be tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. So that's cool that it says right there, feel free to ask Uriel any questions, give suggestions, yada, yada. That's cool. And then something that this, kind of looks like marketing to me. DEIBA and crypto gaming Twitter spaces, where she's going to help push the idea of Chicken Derby onto some new listeners. So this is great. I know that when Chicken Derby, Apex, and Deli sat down with her and they spoke, and they were weird about it. Like, they weren't sure. Like, they just didn't really know what it really brought to the project. And after sitting down with her, they were hooked. So this is exactly the kind of stuff I was hoping for, and it seems like she's already gone above and beyond.
I mean, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning her time right now. I'm pretty sure 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She's in the live chat right now. So look, this is her little introduction. Hi, hatchlings. Some of you may have heard during the AMA or already or noticed me in the chat, but in the spirit of introductions, hi, I'm Uriel, and I'm the new community manager. I started about 14 hours ago, so I'm really new and still getting to know all the ins and outs, but I wanted to let you know that I'm always open for a chat about anything. If you need me, just tag me and you can ask questions. Tell me something you think I should know about Chicken Derby. Mention anything you think is important for me to get right away as the CM, etc. If some of you express interest in asking questions about me, community management, marketing, everything during a live AMA with me, that's something I'll set up. Happy to be here and excited to get to know all of you. Well, we're excited to have you. So welcome. I know the community has just kind of been so awesome about this whole thing. And like I said, she's just been hitting it.
She even mentioned that, like, when she said, hey, feel free to reach out to me. I know I reached out pretty quickly on Twitter, and then she said,
stealing my job, Tyler.
Just
right into those DMs.
But a ton of people
I did the same thing.
But a ton of people have reached out, and she was like, wow, this is great. Like, I'm getting feedback. Like, I'm getting inundated right away with people. And it's like, yeah, we're a passionate community. We're really want to see this grow. And I like everything that we're kind of seeing now. I got a little bit of extra juice for the game again and how it's all looking and setting up. So I'm excited for what we have coming in the next couple of weeks, a couple of months, and of course, the next couple of years.
Yep.
Yes.
So, also, during that week, there was some talent buffs. So anvil reduced recovery time for a chicken that is struck by an anvil. Also, I noticed that the speed of the anvil they're firing fastballs around.
Yeah, they're not hanging in the...
That anvil goes up, it's smack dab down.
It's not up there for 10 seconds anymore.
No, it's not. I did kind of like the suspense. Could that be like a random thing? Like, it goes up and it's like, wait a minute, it hasn't come down yet?
That'd be cool.
Except you could see the chicken stalling, knowing it was coming down.
Oh, no. If they could smooth that out, that suspense was kind of fun. But yeah, Coober increased the speed of the Coober. Machete removed the randomness and the number of chickens decapitated. So does anyone notice how many that is consistently now? Is it like 4?
I think it's 6 and 3. I think Cold Snap is taking 6 and Machete is taking 3.
Okay.
It's
that makes sense though.
My one of my machetes consistently always just cut 2 heads off. It was really annoying.
Well, that was the bummer, is you would get Cold Snaps doing 4 and then you'd get Machete doing 4 and you're like, what the crap? This didn't help me at all. Yeah.
Sometimes like 5. I mean, it's like I've seen some Cold Snaps do 5 or 6. So teleport, increase the distance teleported of a chicken teleporting themselves, increase the distance teleported of a chicken being teleported by another chicken. It's a lot of teleported.
Which is great, definitely. But they also increase the distance you go backwards.
Yeah. So
it's both distances, forwards or backwards.
Yeah. It needed that little buff, so that's nice.
Increase the digging speed on dig. Cold Snap, remove the randomness in the number of chickens frozen. Reduce the speed of the frozen chickens. Love to see it. Reduce the speed of chickens in the black hole. Jetpack, no change. There's a change plan, but they were unable to implement it at this time. So,
and that change, they alluded to this, that change is they want to eventually have the jetpack go over the finish line. while engaged.
That
like
like
it.
Yeah.
Can
I wish they
can
would
all
do
of them do that?
all.
I want to see chicken and pole, like all that, all those
Yeah.
boosts.
Well,
do
maybe
that.
that's the
Like
first
Blue
one.
Rooster.
Maybe Jetpack's the first one, or
straight
maybe
up teleport
Jetpack's
to the win.
or maybe Jetpack's the only one that does that because it's uncommon, so it gives it a little bit of a boost. But yeah, it'd be eventually it would be very cool to be able to see all.
Because
of them.
like I'd be
Yeah.
like Cooper. Like, what if your Cooper went off with 20 meters to go and you just
Rollerblades
blasted
for the
past it?
win.
Yeah, I'd like I'm sure it's something that they would like to see down the road, but I'm sure that takes a little bit of
And it's
Or
something
even
that
like
extra to get that
machete for
going
the loss.
correctly.
Like imagine
Yeah.
if you get a hit with the machete and he just like dies in the last 10
like-
meters because
like
his
right
head's cut
there.
off.
Crosses the
That would
line
be
with his head
beautiful.
off.
you
Oh,
couldn't
That would be
you
beautiful.
lost by the lack of a beak.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're talking.
So this is the most recent update from 10.7. I've got a 9:25 on the stream, so that's on me. Hi, chicken peeps, and welcome to our weekly development blog. Oktoberfest did wrap up. There were some good winners. I know some people in the top. I think they got top 3 got a trophy and an NFT wearable, and then so on up the ladder. And I know there was some couple people, like I think S class got like 0.33 or 0.4 or something like that from the payout for the winner.
Yeah.
A class got like 0.33, I think. Yeah, that's what it was.
It was definitely a little bit lower because
Yep.
we went with the cheaper races, but we knew
Yep.
that, and it's all
Hey,
part of the discovery. Yeah.
The cheaper races means you didn't put much more into it, so that
True.
return is just as good, in my opinion. So, or if you did go I'm gonna race $8 races the whole way, then that's on you. But hi, chicken peeps. Yep, welcome to that. Let's see. Keep an eye. Let's skip that. Marketplace is live on our development server this week, and we've been successfully trading chickens. Like that. The system is mostly functional, but there are still tweaks to be made and UI elements to improve. But here are a few screens to give you an idea. This is the listing page where you can put your chicken up for sale. There are currently 3 options when listing your chicken: buy now, no offers; buy now, receive offers; and offers only. I think I mean it's pretty straightforward. New box will be added to the chicken details page. If you look at a chicken that is available for sale, it'll show the price here, allow you to purchase it or make an offer if allowed. We've also added a trades tab, which will show the purchase and offer history of the chicken. This is the
Pretty clean, yeah.
Stream. Yeah, and this is the marketplace page where you'll be able to search for chickens. There are plenty of criteria you can search and sort by. So it's pretty much looks like, so not saying it looks like OpenSea, but it's pretty straightfortard. I mean,
Well, it's not too different.
No,
It's not too different for starters. You have perfection and the talent right
it's what
there.
we're used to, so why not? I moved,
Yeah, and even easier because the perfection talent's right there, and the sortable racing stats is going to be
Yes,
huge. The
that is
sortable racing
clutch.
stats, yeah.
Yeah, and
As
that's
far
the
as-
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Racing stats with the for sale bird is what's going to matter the most at the end of the day, not
Right.
the UI.
So yeah, so if you want to see all Saramas and Sultans that ran at least 50 races, you can. No, this data is from our development server, not on the live one you play on, so the race data is different. Still will be a little longer till it's ready to go live as we need to test it thoroughly, but we're confident we'll get this to you by this month, October. Let's go. A couple weeks ago, we updated our ARG and have been monitoring it very closely. We've determined there are several improvements to be made and shall be delivering the following with a new update. Consistent distribution of entry fees. When a race is filled, a new race from the same group is generated, with each group being split up based on their entry fee. Currently, there are 15 different entry fee values spread across 4 different groups, not counting free races. We're going to change this to 10 entry fee values across 5 groups instead. And like I said earlier and alluded to, the chat seems to be happy with this change thus far. I haven't,
It's a better mix.
I haven't had the weeth to do some racing, plus I've been on vacation, so I'll have to check it out.
But this is certainly
this is the breakdown of the new versus current, and that is in the announcements channel if you want to see the graphic yourself. Go ahead, Dave. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say this lines up with what's been asked for. I think by adding the extra band and narrowing the ranges of them, I think that was where a bit of the gap in communication might have been about the ARG before. Like the cheap band couldn't be as wide as it used to be.
Yeah.
and still sort of satisfy the desire. So having those two lowest price points in that band makes sense, and then raising them up as that goes. So there should be more availability of each sort of tier of race. So I get why people are pleased with it, because I think it lines up with what had been asked for fairly frequently.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, this has been asked for a while. Quite a while. There's always been someone constantly chattering about this, so glad to see that this has been implemented. There's a ceiling currently on the maximum entry fee that each pecking order can have, so D chickens can never enter a race above 0.01 WETH. This will be removed. In the past 6 months, only a single race with an entry fee of at least 0.1 has filled, so we are removing these races from the pool for now. When demand shows itself for higher entry fee races, we will add them back or perhaps hold them as special events, which was also, I believe, a community suggested suggestion. Any present $100+ entry fee races will remain on the site until filled. So if you want to get in on some of that action, get in the ones that are sitting there, because they're the last ones you'll see for a while, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Consistent appearance of distance and terrain types. The current pool of races does not have a balance of distance and terrain types, which you have probably seen, as there are like 7 road races in one class, and they're all either 180, 140, and it's just kind of annoying.
Sucks if your preference is 160 road, but
yeah, if you got a bird that loves those, it's a good day. But it sucks sometimes when you're like, can I just please get a 180 dirt or something?
yeah, especially during like these 30 race events where you can't squander one on something you don't prefer. It's like, if I can't find 160 track and I need 160 track, it's a rough day.
Yeah, I definitely ran into that with this tournament. I think I did better in the first 10K because ARG was kinder to me. And this time around, not to mention, it took me like 22 races to get a bird from C down to D when I just needed 7 more in D. So it took a while, but yeah, the ARG, it's getting better. And I know they've even made some changes here after the tournament. So
yeah. So, yeah.
By the way, I'm half distracted over here. I'm going through like every single talent with the alien to see if there's any of them that have 11. There is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all I had.
Rip.
I wish, yeah. There was some with 9, some with 10, no 11.
So the updated pool now has a perfectly even distribution of distance and terrain combinations. This will reduce the instances of certain race types appearing too often or not appearing often enough. You can see the new pool races now. This update to the ARG will be implemented on Monday, so that was today. Again, has been received well thus far. Earlier this week, we hosted the first of our new monthly AMAs. Unfortunately, CDA had a problem with his Wi-Fi and wasn't able to join, but I gladly took your questions. If you missed it, then you can find the recording in announcements. Question time from Rod Doggan. What are the current plans for breeding, and when is it expected to be available? Currently, breeding is on the back burner. It is still certainly part of the Chicken Derby vision, but other elements need to take precedence. Of the mechanics we can add to the game now, we feel breeding won't add much value for the development time it'll take. As the game picks up and demand for chickens increases, then we'll begin to work on breeding. This is something that I feel like we've all kind of been on the same page.
Good answer.
And knowing that, this is
the only people that aren't,
we are all.
Yeah, the only people that aren't are the people that you don't really see in the chat, and they're just like, hey, when's breeding? Hey, we still doing breeding?
When breeding?
It's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love breeding, I don't want offspring that I can't sell for anything. So I'm good.
And especially to a new player, though, breeding is an enticing thing, right? We all think breeding. So I can see new people coming in that's their first thing on their mind, wanting to know, hey, when can I turn my 2 birds into
when breeding, when scholarship? I want pyramid.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just real quick, I don't know how much of a tangent this is going to create, but I think it was Sambo that said, let's have fusion for like a long, like a extended amount of time before breeding, reduce the stock, and then
I'm on board
and
with
then
that.
allow breeding.
I was
I
cool
would be
with
good with
that.
that
I think
too.
I said
Yeah.
I think I said that back on when we talked about fusion at length, that if you allow the spicy generation to fuse at least one time, you'd be able to cut the stock in half completely. And then we're looking at some good prime breeding
but I know
grounds.
Dave is not happy about fusing the spices. You can see it in his face already.
No. Dave will.
I wouldn't be fusing any, but
Dave will come around. Yeah.
I wouldn't be fusing many, but I would love everybody else to fuse.
Well, I mean, I really do feel like that first month would kind of be, I mean, we got degens for days in this place. Like,
yeah,
this the idea.
I got 30 birds. I'm probably fusing a couple to see what happens.
That's too many birds, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, listen, if people are buying birds off the market simply to fuse them, I'm cool with that.
That's kind of cool too. Yeah. I mean, you start just like grabbing them up and being like, all right, here's a 90 lizard eye that doesn't have anything, that sets it apart.
Got nothing going for it.
I'm going to grab an eye patch and see if I get, see what happens,
eye patch,
or grab a helicopter or grab a growth and just see if you get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question from Sambo: how difficult will it be to animate all the wearables? I'm worried that this will lead to a lot of time that could be spent elsewhere. The answer, in terms of the time it takes, it really isn't a problem. The animation of the chickens and wearables is the responsibility of our animator. He started work on this a few weeks ago while the devs were still concentrating on Marketplace. Once Marketplace is wrapped up, they can move on to the wearables with the animations all ready for them. It is difficult to do the animations given the variety of things that the chickens do and the variety of wearables. But unfortunately, we have a talented animator.
Fortunately.
Did I say unfortunately?
Yeah.
My bad.
Slightly different.
Here are a few examples of what you can expect. So yeah, you got the jetpack with the toga and the 20K trophy there, or wearable. I can't. Why do I gotta do that? Click on it to make it do something. Cheese and rice. There we
Make your
go.
GIF.
Oh, had a raccoon hat on. Looks like it loses it there for a second, but that's all right. Here's the Oktoberfest wearables, which should have been airdropped to you, I believe, today.
Yes, yeah, they're in their hidden folder.
Check your hidden in OpenSea, but since they've added that to the website, you can make sure they're there just by logging in and connecting your wallet.
Yeah, they look pretty good here. Obviously, I would love to be able to see like the chain on that monocle wobble a little bit, but I'm being
He's
greedy.
a fancy bird, though.
I'm being greedy, but it's cool. Like they look cool. This bird, it looks awesome. I love I love this swinging machete with my like very Jack the Ripper vibes right there. I'm a fan of it. So not a fan of Jack the Ripper, but
just the vibes.
It'll be
front
interesting to see, because like the animator will have to literally come up with all combinations of all the wearables. I mean, that could be endless if they just keep adding things. So like,
well, I think Deli even alluded to, he was like talents. He was like, during the AMA, he goes, those are tricky. Those are really tricky to implement into the game. And they still reiterated again the idea of new talents and breeding, creating all that stuff. But he did try to stress the idea of how tricky it is to implement that in there and get it seamless. So
I do recall that question being asked of new talents being implemented down the road. And it is something that they are going to look into. But like Tyler just said, and to his point, talents are tricky.
Yeah.
So the form for the questionnaire is at the bottom of the weekly development blog here, and you can submit your question. And if they like it, like I said, they'll answer it in the blog next week, or this Friday rather. The results of the Oktoberfest are in. Do we want to see who won?
No.
First.
Just the top ones.
Just
ignore the top chickens.
Ignore the one that won top. They're not even here tonight to talk about it.
Yeah,
goddamn
my
Harry
Coop,
Bolt.
that's chicken 22. Raw dogging, man, that A class was shaping up to be something. I was right up there. I ended up getting 6, but my bird went on a skid. I think I was the highest Sultan, like by a large margin in A class, but he just hit a brick wall like the last 7-8 races. So congrats to you guys. Let's see, Smoky Chooks and Finger Lakin good. Red Star Belgrade, and that one fancy band guy.
He's not here. He doesn't count.
Some hair.
I didn't win shit this tournament.
Me either. Not even a top 10 anywhere.
Wearables. So, I guess we got a little double action of dev blog updates because now
Yeah.
that we have a community manager, she's been dropping some tidbits in the announcements channel, and this is another one. As Tyler talked about earlier, this kind of seems to be a little bit of some marketing there, maybe.
Yeah.
The things that she's got going on,
the integrating with different spaces and different and different communities. I'm all about it. It's Twitter Spaces is a temperamental pain in the ass half the time, but it is the way to get a new audience. So
yeah, some you've already noticed, but some of the channels got switched around, deleted. We talked about that earlier. She goes on to talk about events from the CD team. AMA's Twitter Spaces will also show up in the events list at the drop of our Discord. So I believe she's going to be doing some Twitter Spaces on her own eventually.
Tomorrow. Right in the community events at the top of the Discord. It says events right at the top. You click on it and it pops in AMA and game night tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then
you said that early on this show. I forgot.
Yep. And then Thursday the 20th, they're doing it actually looks like this is just an event where there is a big Twitter Spaces in general about crypto gaming, and she'll be there to speak on behalf. So if we show up and obviously talk it up as well, I mean, this is the part of Web3. Show up and show out.
Yep. Got to be loud for your community.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the big one that I really like to see. If you're hosting any type of Chicken Derby event, ranging from Twitter Spaces, podcast, your own tournament or giveaway, let her know, and she'll make sure that it ends up on the calendar. That's that way it lets the community know. Loved it. It's kind of a little added bonus to the community content channel because I feel like as much as that was utilized, it was kind of low on the ladder of chat areas, and it was underutilized, I feel. So, a lot of good things coming, a lot of good things to like. You love to see it.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I said before, feeling that juice again. I'm feeling like there's that I don't want to say hope, but we're kind of seeing where it is. They've responded. I mean, the devs have responded very well from the land debacle that we know all was there, and the elephant in the room of that is not really there anymore. It's been addressed, and I feel like they've done a very good job to kind of reinforce their intentions with the community, letting us know exactly what's coming and when we're going to see it. And with Ariel here, it just seems like now we can start getting that information a little bit quicker or just more seamlessly, less people that just get kind of, I don't want to say ignored, but just forgotten and lost in the shuffle. And I like how Delia has been a little more playful in the chat, talking to us and answering, like not to call teamwork out, but he said this flat out. He goes, I saw the growth and the lizard eyes in one race, and it looked a little OP. So he brought it up, and he was right. Like, so if you see something, say it.
I see another one, a little more tinfoil here. Machete might be boosted by Angry Eyes, and Flight seems to be boosted by Determined Eyes. The correlation with Flight and Determined Eyes does make sense to me. Because you see that bird really trying.
Machete and Angry.
I'll be back. So hard.
I'll be back.
I don't know. Do I have angry-eyed machetes? I don't think I do. Damn, I got a lot of machetes though too.
But what are you thinking the eyes do to the
I think
machete?
I get a determined flight.
What's up?
Does he take off extra heads, or their heads staying off longer? What are you thinking?
Yeah, let us know.
Do you
what
get
you
a
think
boost
there.
after? Possibly. Do you cut off and run?
Because this brings up the fact that, like, Blake and we were talking about earlier about how it's only 11 chickens on these other ones, but if Angry Eye and Machete, that's 207 birds. So like that's a pretty substantial jump if that's the case. So if any, like, and if there's 6 different eyes, well, we don't know if there's 6 different eyes. We do know there are 6 combinations of eye and talent, and that's the only thing that we have to be careful about. Is that just there's 3 uncommon eyes, alien, eye patch, lizard. That's 2 each.
Yeah,
if it
not
could
impossible.
It's not impossible. It's only those 3 eyes, 2 each. So because that's 201 birds that just got boosted if it is Machete and Angry Eyes. So food for thought there. There might be something worth looking in a little bit deeper there, actually, now that I come to think of it. maybe Lizard and Devo does have a correlation.
Mhm.
I need to ask him if background has any correlation on the terrain.
I hope he just hits you with a no.
He needs to just start using the Bugs Bunny meme. No.
Yeah.
But there's value in getting some of those no's, even if they're to dumb-ish feeling questions.
Mhm.
It's like, you know what? I don't have to chase down that rabbit trail anymore.
Exactly. Can take the tinfoil
And then the
off
one
for
you
that
think
one.
is really stupid and he's like doesn't answer or like leaves it vague and then you really run down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I trust his no, but I don't trust his vague, non-answer, non-committal nonsense routine.
Are you
Very
sure
happy to
about
just see
that?
no. Yeah.
Eye emoji.
Yeah, very happy just to see no. I'll take that. I'll take that 7 days a week.
Be definitive, even if it's crushing my dreams.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So go
ahead.
Josh.
Nope, you got it. Bulldoze away.
Yeah, I just feel like there's now a kind of a rekindling of the community to try to find these things and know that they can actually just tag down. Like I was in the beta channel and I said, how do you want us to do this? Do you want us to like send it in as a question? And he goes, no, just tag me. So just tag Deli and be like, is this it? here's the race I saw it in. And he's already said no to a few things and said, nope, that doesn't work. So like when Teamwork said it, he shared the race, sent it over, and literally within a couple of minutes, he goes, "Yep, you got it," and it was already thrown onto the tutorial. So we already have that in there. So don't be afraid to be wrong, and if you think you see something,
pepper him with things.
Hit him with it, yeah. Hit him, especially if you have, if you're just gonna pepper with them, and just say random shit, then yeah, it's not gonna work. But if you have a race and you're like, hey, this looks, funky, go for it.
So I was kind of kidding about background, but I have always had the theory that Coleman Waddle has something to do with distance and terrain. But how do you show proof of that? Like how do you show proof of a stat rather than like a visual cue?
Kind of tricky. Yeah. The stat's a tough one. I mean, I know Bearded Donut was asking, can we look at the API? Yeah, we have. And there's nothing. You'd have to almost look at a ridiculous amount of races and then put them all into a blender and then sort it out. And it's like, that's tough. Like,
because nothing's jumping out, you still need a theory to run at that data.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I need to take a talent combo with an eye and I need to run it at the data and see if anything comes out. I can't just say, data, speak to me.
So for instance, like we had a theory early on about things being scaled down. Like it may BAWK may have its certain preference and scale down on whatever that is, distance or terrain or whatever it may be. Any of these things could do that, but if it's a scaled factor, how are you going to show? That's going to be really, really hard to show proof of.
Well, Teamwork says it here, and it was something that was said by Deli. He said to use the clock on the race to determine a couple of these things. So I'm going to see if I can get the exact thing he said while I'm here.
The clock on the race.
But so use the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, like certain talents possibly running longer or
I'm gonna see if
quicker
I can,
recovery times, like whatever it might be. Actually track the number of seconds, not necessarily like distance traveled on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So there was early theories about time being a factor.
Yeah.
And time being something that we should be looking at more so than even like finishing places. If he's saying to look at the times, then even for small segments, wouldn't the overall times then matter?
Well, we've had the debate on times mattering or not, and have talked about checking the times to birds on racing with talents or without the talents, and we were comparing them right away when talents first dropped. I mean, it didn't really. There wasn't much difference.
Yeah. So I have the breakdown here, the actual convo. Fenduono said jetpack plus alien eyes equals longer flight. Deli says, is that a guess or have you seen it? from there. He just, I just expected it, but I'm just trusting my eyes. It's like I've long suspected it based on what I'm seeing, but I trust you more than I trust my eyes. And then Deli said no, but watching the clock is a good idea. So that was the line. No. So I guess he was saying no to Alien Eye Jetpack, but watching the clock is a good idea.
Yeah. So what he's saying is these segments in the API are broken down into times, right? So we've looked at this in the past too. I can't remember who did this with us, but if that is the case, then to me, anytime you're breaking down any segments into times, to me, the overall time matters now. That tells me no question the overall time would matter.
The overall
especially
time of the talent, mostly. Because I know we've talked about...
If it's that segment that matters, then the overall time matters. So think about reverse engineering. Instead of looking and seeing what talent is running at a certain time, if we start focusing on times more, maybe then we'll start to uncover more of these quirks in the thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's another factor to kind of sift through. I agree completely.
Yeah, but now I'm going to be sitting here watching races with my stopwatch out and being like, how long was that moving walkway going for?
One last thing, in this same conversation, Deli then followed up and said, also, if you're checking talents that were recently updated, there will be differences between the new and the old versions. So don't compare races from now and then. So if I don't want to say that's
all the data. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah. So the new stuff, the new updated ones are going to look a little bit different. So that's something to keep in mind when you're checking. Obviously, Cooper is a little more overpowered now, and not overpowered, but properly powered. But yeah, just the only other thing that was worth mentioning there.
After this, I'm a lot more convinced that time is a factor. So when looking at birds and what, like, we look at the graph, right, based off of finishing place and podium finishes, but time may tell you what you're really good at as much as that chart.
It very well could. The only thing that's still difficult there is just when you get hit by a talent and it changes your time.
True.
That's still and until we have tracking on when you get hit and just talents in general. I did ask a question from Deli and he followed up, and I said, will there be a way maybe in when we're just looking through the races and viewing them where we'll be able to determine if our talent went off in a race? And they said it isn't planned, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. So it's something they're considering. But until we have that matched up a little bit more, it's going to be hard to track that.
Well, Tyler, you and I have both gone not back and forth, but you and I have been beating the drum on the dice roll of the race happens, and then the dice roll of the talents happens after. And if that is true,
yeah, that was confirmed. Yeah.
Yes. So that totally means, when you watch your race and you get hit by a talent, it could be you might still be on your preferred, but you just got hit by a talent and you just got wrecked for 6 seconds. And
the distance and terrain algo goes off, and then separately thereafter, the talent algo goes off, which Deli said a bunch of times is random. Obviously, there's percentages there, but it's still random. And that is, and thus to have a finished product at the end. So yeah,
talent going off is random, right? To a certain degree.
Well, it's a dice roll. Yeah, it's just
probability. Has anybody asked any questions based off of any defensive things, or is there something that causes a bird to get hit more by certain talents than others? Is that a factor? Is that
I think the anvil magnet out there? I know some.
I think he said that was random as well.
Let's say that you've got an orange will on a certain terrain or whatever. Are you more likely to get hit by an anvil at that point? Or, are there certain factors that align up to where, because while we were talking about boosts, to me, there's got to be the other end of the spectrum also.
So
things that are more likely to where that's going to be your worst spots to run on. Is that
Yeah, there are pieces like that can be kind of figured out, but again, it takes a lot of those races to
How would
really
we
see
ask
it.
that question to him without seeing that? Is it fair to ask the question? Are there any kind of I don't even want to call it defense, but are there any kind of things that make your bird more apt to getting hit by a certain?
So
Would that
the way
be
they did answer that was just that it is random, meaning the probability. So
that just means that
But
it's
what
going
if it
off
was
randomly.
based off
right.
you're not what if you're on the wrong terrain or wrong distance altogether and you just get smacked by a talent all the time? What if that's a good I don't know, I'm just spitballing there, but
because here's the reason why I ask this, because like when I'm trying to downclass, there's certain birds that when I'm downclassing, they happen to get hit by a talent.
I want to get hit. Yeah.
And it seems more often that they get hit by those talents when I'm in those downclassing races than when I'm in the ones where I'm trying to win.
So
I'm either going to have my talent go off or not have a talent go off at all.
So Sydney Cove asks in the chat, I still find it hard to believe chickens at the back of the pack don't go off more often. I do feel like there are some talents that look like they do get mailed in a little bit. Like chicken apult, I know my chicken apults will trail off to the back and be about 5 meters behind, and then they'll launch forward. But I think a lot of that still is based off of the time that the algorithm spits out at the end,
right?
And the
show
still has to match up with that.
It's a visualization,
right? The show we're watching is just a show. So yes, I do think we have chickens that fall back to the back of the pack and come forward because they're all trying to make this thing kind of mesh together. But it's no different than if your bird is in 8th place and then in the last 10 meters they surge for no good reason. They just surge. What happens sometimes, and all of a sudden you surge to first place. It's just a visualization of it. Right. So I do think that is happening. I do think that your bird will fall to the back of the pack so it can use its talent and pop up and then find its way into 6. Because in the end, if the numbers said that even though your jetpack went off, you needed to end up in 6th place, then at some point you're going to, and you weren't hit by a talent, something has to push you back in the visualization. Yeah. So when the jetpack goes off, it drops you in the middle. So it's everything that happens during the race is just fun. The only things that really need to be noted are, where did you finish? Did you get hit by a talent? Did your talent go off?
That's why I think that's it. Like, that's why when you like, another example of this is like when you see a double, your bird does double talent or a triple talent at that. I've seen that as well. Mm-hmm. The first one might not be as good or as kind of junk. Like I've
see that a lot.
Some flights or chicken apults where they only go a few meters and then they hit their talent again and they launch all the way to the front of the pack.
In the API, I saw that with chicken apult, where it's like the first one would be like a 2.4 seconds in the air, and the next one would be 3.5 to 4.5, depending. So
or like a flight with that goes only for a few seconds, and then another with a bad landing or something, and then another flight that comes in with a good
there's different
landing.
landings. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that there's a lot of shit for this game.
Got a good tinfoil out tonight, boys. We could probably go all night, right?
Oh, Jesus.
And get nowhere. Just
because I feel like Sid just said, he had royal procession go off twice and it followed the same rhythm. If you dice rolled and your royal procession goes off twice and it's 2 massive hits. But
kudos,
the number,
first of
all,
kudos.
Congrats on your royal procession.
Josh is not upset about this. But if those 2 are massive hits, then something would have to happen to make you fall back if it also didn't make you win the race. So,
and then to also not win it by 20 meters.
Yeah. And Alrad said, I can't think of a single boost talent that wasn't more effective the second time. And maybe it happened, but I can't think of one either.
Same with moving walkway too. You see a moving walkway come out and double time. The first one he may jump off and he doesn't sprint and he trails back a few more places, and then another moving walkway comes in and he's on a dead sprint out of the gate.
Yeah.
So
if I hit a talent in the first 50% of the race, I'm usually pretty disappointed about that happening.
It's a balance thing. Yeah.
If it's a short race, I'm okay with it. But yeah,
I still want it in the back half.
Yeah.
If they allowed the camera to zoom out a little bit, do you think that they could utilize the talents in a different way?
I mean, yeah, because it would look different. Like they could make it a little more.
I think they do need to zoom it out a little, because with helicopter, if you're in the top
you can't see on the top
spots of 6 rows, you don't even see the animation, especially on lane 1.
You definitely could,
or
though.
12, whatever.
Camera controls sure would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think they could, like even like if they had a zoomed out, but as the talent went off, it maybe zoomed into that, kind of deal, kind of like how we
like
saw
the cutscenes. I know they talked about cutscenes eventually, and
they
that
don't
may
even
come
have to
with
do
sound and down the road. But
they don't even have to do a cut scene as much as they could do a zoom out version where you can see everything. All these, and then as the talents go off, it zooms in more. To me, that would allow some of these birds to. They wouldn't have to have that bird at the back that that their talent's going to go off so that it's on screen.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I
think they could.
On that note, what Sid just said here is I think he said it's anecdotal, but I actually think it sums it up pretty well. He said, I've noticed less anvils wrecking birds that have huge leads. So again, this is that situation where you'll see your bird go out to a huge lead, you will get excited, and then you get wrecked by an anvil, and you think to yourself, damn, if I didn't get hit by an anvil, I had a huge lead, I should have won this race. But if you still ended up in 12th, then chances are it wasn't really that good of a dice roll anyway. It's just that they made it look like that, and it made it feel like, God damn, my
maximum pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made it look
Or like when your chicken gets out to an early lead in a big money race, and you're just winning the whole thing, and then all of a sudden with 10 to 15 meters to go, you just all of a sudden get tired, or your bird's just moonwalk.
Yeah, but it was almost every time. It was every time you got out to the front, you got crushed. Now they're definitely mixing it up a little bit. They're definitely making some things that aren't quite as telegraphed, which is good. I like that.
Well, and I think though that the zoomed out camera would ease that up for them even more. They wouldn't have to fine tune it as much. They could kind of let it play more if they had more of the screen showing. But
it's true. Yeah. But then again, that's the tough thing. Maybe down the line we'll get that, but I know that's at the moment. In a perfect world with the maximum amount of capacity, they could just keep making these changes, and maybe we'll see it down the road. I would love to see things like that down the road for sure. But obviously they're trying to stay focused. As long as they're working properly and the races are a little more entertaining, cool.
So a lot of stuff happening in the chicken derby world. Love to see it. Keep speculating. Keep those guesses coming. The only way we're going to solve it is by, suggesting it. So
talking about it.
Yeah. It's like that Hulu commercial. There are no dumb suggestions. That was a dumb suggestion. We'll move on. So other big news going on in the crypto world or community, D3 Gaming has a mint coming up soon, and this sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, this is cool. This is very cool.
They have welcome to D3 Gaming's Fantasy Sports Center. We're excited to have you here with us as we kick off our first fantasy sports NFT collection. The team has been hard at work for the past couple months in order to bring this mint together. They've created a special collection representing the 32 countries competing in this year's largest football competition, and that is soccer. So
sorry, they use their feet.
They do use their feet.
I like how
none of your opinions are welcome.
They're watching their P's and Q's on the terminology of largest football competition.
Yeah,
32 countries is the dead giveaway, though. Yeah.
So it's that global competition that they hold a cup, right?
Yeah, that sport that like more than 3 countries play.
Like the World Bowl, the Global Bowl,
the Cup of the World.
Yeah, that thing.
So yeah, they've got this project coming out with that game in mind, and the mint is October 30th. The greatest part of the project is 100% of the minting fees from this first collection will be going right on back to you NFT holders. Each NFT costs only 0.025 Polygon WETH, with a chance to win up to 20 times the mint price. Hot damn.
Yep,
Like
and and these will be tradable on the secondary market. So if you don't like the one you got, you can go and buy them, open any way you want to do it. I even, and for what it's worth, I mean, I would love for them to be a part of it too, just because, but I know a lot of the D3 guys said they're not even going to be buying these ones. This is just for the people to jump in and grab them. I think it's really cool because all of us love to do these pools, and this is just this next generation of doing an office pool and having it set up in this way. So I think and not being stuck with the team you don't want. If you want to take a chance and be like, yep, I want Brazil, go pay for it.
Yep.
So if you get stuck with Canada, you can just send it to me for free. They're not going to win. It's fine.
Very cool.
Right. Yeah. So they got a lot of cool things going on in D3 world. I'm going to come down here to the dates. So save the dates. Minting begins October 30th at 12 UTC. Minting closes on November 11th. The big reveal will be on the 13th, and the games begin on the 20th. So
who even is D3?
What?
Sorry, I just like that. It was they had written there. Who even is D3? They had it written like accusational. I like it.
So Christmas Day is the payday. So yeah,
Very
get
cool.
yourself in on that. And if you need more information on that, the D3 gaming server, they've got in their announcements channel the link. That's where I pulled this from. So get yourself in that chat, get in on that, save the date. I know I will be, and it sounds really fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our show for the week. If you're still here, make sure you like and subscribe. We've got an NFT too. Coop Collective Barns still out there. We're kind of thinking of we're brainstorming. I'll just say that.
We're always brainstorming.
We're brainstorming on some things.
Shut up.
But that's about all I'll say. They're on
spoilers.
OpenSea. You can find them 0.05 for now. Yeah, this is it's good to get back. We took a little hiatus last week. Tyler had some unfortunate stuff.
Tyler
with
didn't
some
die,
carbon
so-
monoxide in his house.
I'm alive and a
then,
lot poorer.
We postponed last night because I was on vacation. I'll be moving to the East
HVACs
Coast, so
are
our
expensive.
times might be fluctuating here in the next few months.
Yep.
Starting a new job, so
Eastern time.
yeah, we
Congrats
may
to
even
you.
be pivoting to some spaces if I have to turn some of this equipment in that I've got.
I'm the only one in the central time zone now.
Yeah.
Yep,
I'll be going
bye-bye.
East Coast.
Damn it.
Going to a real time zone.
I don't know. I've been in all of them now. Once I move east, it'll be all of them.
Nobody
So,
lives in Mountain.
Yeah. Well, Arizona has both, so that was fun.
They did, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
back
the
and
zone,
forth,
yeah.
mountain to Pacific. So, yeah, that's been our show this week. We will be back this Sunday. New event coming out for Chicken Derby, new format. So be on the lookout for that. I believe that starts sometime this week. I think, right?
Yeah, they want to do one and then they'll do a Halloween one after. So
Yeah.
they want to keep this moving.
I'm curious to see the Halloween one because if it's like Chook's
There could be-
special, that'll be pretty cool. I
There
don't
could
know.
be
I
some
want
cool
those
stuff.
wearables. I don't care. Halloween wearables. Let's go.
There you go.
But, and they did say
Hey.
they did not give Delhi did not give any indication yet, but there is some type of qualifier for the Halloween tournament. We don't know what it is yet.
But also, listen,
Better race.
the marketplace should be here by the end, but this month, remember, they did say that in
they
the
did say
dev
this
blog,
month,
so maybe it
So
is a
before
wearable
Halloween?
contest.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, guys, that's been our show. Blake on the flip phone. Wave for the camera.
I'm flipping.
I am at Grateful Coops. You can find us in the Coop Collective Discord. I have at Pecking Order Racing, at MBF Express, and Wada Wada Racing with me. We're the Coop Collective. We'll be back next week. Check out the D3 Gaming Mint. Don't forget to get in on that. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Meow.
Blake on a mobile.